It's wonderful to see all of you here and to be in this new, beautiful facility. You can't help but just be, the right word is, but so very pleased. I think of so many of you that gave money, gave it sacrificially, time, energy, all the work that went into this. It's really amazing. And it was great to walk through the halls and to see all of that. I was 6 years old. Some of you know this, but many probably do not. But I was 6 years old. My parents became Seventh-day Adventists in Greensboro, North Carolina. I have a lot of Baptist relatives, and Baptists are wonderful people. And I always say they make good Adventists. But becoming Seventh-day Adventists added huge amounts of value to our lives. One of the first things that happened, my parents had moved to a little neighborhood there in Greensboro where you could just walk 2 blocks inside our little neighborhood and be at the back door of the school. They planned for us to go to school there. It's called Hunter School. You'll see it on Merritt Drive if you ever go there. But I never spent a day in that public school because we went to church school, the old Greensboro church, in the back room with 8 grades. Mrs. Crandall was our first teacher, and that's where I started Adventist education. And I have absolutely no regrets. No, it didn't have a lab, and no, it didn't have a lot of stuff, but it did have something that was pretty special. They understood that we were on a journey with a destination, not just a journey. And this journey that we're all on does have a destination, and I say praise God for that. And from there, by the time I got to the 4th grade, we were coming to Tri-City Junior Academy, and I remember the building, and I watched the construction fast forward. I didn't see any cranes in those days. I didn't see any big steel going up, Brian. But I do remember every Sunday being with my dad, and I wasn't about 10 years old or so, and we carried big buckets of plaster. They gave me one, and I carried that between my legs, you know, like this. And the school went up. We didn't have to get an occupancy permit in those days. You just showed up, and the floor had not been poured, and there were no windows in the room, and there was the privy was not fixed yet on the inside. You had one on the outside for the first few weeks of school. But you know, it all came together. And some great people in mine. I'll never get every name, but I remember Dr. and Mrs. Johnson and the wonderful influence that they had. I think Kathy's here this morning. I know she's here because we spoke just a little earlier. How many of you were here when this school first opened with the no windows? Anybody else here? Let me see your hand there. Yep. There is Joy and Becky Stanley. Then, keep your hands up. I want to see your hands. Okay. To the West Dresses twins. They're some of my favorite people. We used to go in gathering together, and I was just a couple, 3 years or whatever behind them. Anyway, they had the chaperoning part. It was great. But through the years, those values added, and Adventist teachers are wonderful. I didn't say they were perfect. But putting your child, and there were some moments in this school's history when there were some challenges, but you know, my mom and dad never lost faith in Adventist education. And there wasn't a question of whether we were going to be in this school. That was never a discussion. We were going to this school. There wasn't a discussion whether I was going to go away to academy. We were a very tight family, and that was a pretty traumatic thing. And there wasn't a discussion as to whether I was going to an Adventist college. There just wasn't that discussion. We were going to do that. And I praise God for that. I can remember my mother's 5'2". She's with me now in Michigan, and we're happy to have her there. She's in church this morning, and she needs 24/7 care at this point, so I get to take her to church every week. and it's wonderful. But she's 5'2", and she drove the school bus. That was a big school bus, because we got it from the public school system. It wasn't designed for us. You just did the best you could. And I remember we turned onto this road, wherever it's named now, and off of 68, and all of a sudden there was a terrible noise in the engine, and the bus just died. And some of the bigger boys rushed back to the back window, and they said, "Mrs. Gallimore, there's parts laying all in the road." The engine and transmission or whatever just fell apart. It died right there. But you know, through it all, somehow God found a way to get the kids back and forth to school. Some wonderful teachers. I think at a time, if you made certain kinds of averages and behavior and all that kind of thing, some wonderful person sponsored us a little trip to Myrtle Beach. And I had kind of inadvertently done something that I shouldn't have done and kind of got in some trouble. It's probably nobody else in this room's ever got in trouble in school. I did stay out of the principal's office. Where's Peter Cousins? By the way, he's a Michigander. There you are. I did manage to stay out of the principal's office. We're loaning you down here to these folks, so take good care of them. But I got in some trouble, and I'm just not used to getting into trouble. And I was afraid I was going to embarrass my parents and all those kinds of wonderful things in that moment, terrible things. And everybody else had gone to bed, and I was setting out on the stairs by myself in the middle of the night. And Mrs. Carlson came and found me, put her arm around me, encouraged me, and comforted my heart. This is a beautiful facility. It's here because we believe that Jesus is coming soon, and we need to prepare our kids for what is coming. And there will be nothing that will hold them in the days ahead like a faith in God and in the great Adventist message. So I want to remind us, as beautiful as this building is, I want to remind us that it's not what the building is, but what we do in this building.